We were doing a walk one day when I found the rosary laying in the grass. It was amazing to see this huge blue rosary with the water of Lourdes in the back of the pendant. Mary just continued to call me, but in a very silent way, and I didn't recognize it until later. How my life has changed so drastically from what it was to a very nice and beautiful life that I'm experiencing now. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and started in music when I was 10 years old. I was there in church every Sunday, working on the altar with the priests, and they did have a very beautiful, large shrine of Virgin Mary. And I continued with my work there at the church, probably till I was about 15 years old. And it was a very great experience to be able to spend time in the church alone with Mary and Jesus and all the saints, just praying every day. My mom, she was a tap dancer and an acrobat when she was young, and kind of pushed me into music because of that. But she also was very reverent about my going to church every Sunday, so she would go with me for the most part. Once I got into my, I think, junior year in high school, I was doing a lot of touring with bands. I was playing with an R&B group, and that element started to pull me away from my devotion to Mary. As time went on, and I pulled away from the church to a certain point for almost 30 years or so. I think I was about 27, 28 years old, which was a time of serious change in my life. I was going through some really bad relationships and so forth, and also had kids during the process. But what was very important to me at that point was to still bring my connection back to our Lord. So I received a Bible. It was a student Bible, and I started reading it and found that once I started, I couldn't put the Bible down. So I ended up starting from the beginning of the book of Genesis and read all the way through to Revelations, and didn't get enough. I wanted to read it again. And I think at that point, the fire started burning inside where I just couldn't put this book down. I met my wife while I was on tour in Uruguay. We decided at that point that we would continue communicating, which we did, for about a year or so. And then when she came here to the United States, we found a church that we wanted to go to when we moved to Atlanta. We started going to St. Jude Catholic Church. And while there at the church, there was a retreat going on, and it was called Christ Renews His Parish. So I signed up for it. And that Sunday, as we were finishing up the retreat, as I turned to my right, the sun was coming up, and a ray of sunlight came through the stained glass window in the parish hall where we were. And as I looked up, it caught me right in the eye, and it came through a dove that was in the stained glass, and it hit me so brightly that it had the insides shudder, all of my entire soul and body. And I knew right away, oh my gosh, what just happened? We were doing a walk one day when I found a rosary laying in the grass. It was amazing to see this huge blue rosary with the water of Lourdes in the back of the pendant. It was interesting. I've never seen a rosary that had water in it. And my wife looked and said, you know what? This is a pendant that has Our Lady of Lourdes, and this water is probably from Lourdes. I said, wow, okay, I need to learn more about this. From that point, Mary just continued to call me, but in a very silent way, and I didn't recognize it until later. How I recognized it was when we decided one day that we wanted to go to listen to gospel music, and my wife had never really listened to gospel music before. We found that there was a church downtown Atlanta, which was the oldest church in Atlanta. It was over 100 years old, and it was Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church. When we arrived there, we weren't aware at the time that we were going there that particular Sunday, which was the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. And as I walked into the church, we walked by the area where the choir would normally sing. Mass hadn't started yet. We found our pews to where we wanted to sit. And as I walked by that area, I saw the Hammond organ sitting there, and just got immediately excited. And then the choir started singing. It was amazing to hear such rich gospel music being sung in a Catholic church. So I asked the music director on my way out if anyone was playing that organ. And he said, no. Why did you ask? I said, well, I play Hammond organ. Oh, you do? Would you be interested in playing here? Yeah, I think so. So I continued playing there, roughly about 8 months, I believe, playing during the masses. And it was quite fun to be able to play that spiritual music with the Spelman College Glee Club choir that was there at the church. My daughter had been suffering from cervical cancer since she was 14, and she wanted to know if I'd be interested in going with her to Lourdes. I talked to my wife about it. She said, oh, really? She does? She wants to go? I said, yeah. So she said, we ought to plan a trip. I said, okay, let's start doing it. So we planned to go to Lourdes. We were going to stop and fly into Paris first, and then plan some days to be in Lourdes. And it just so happened that it was during the month of July, which was close to the last apparition of Our Lady of Lourdes to St. Bernadette, during the procession that we walked around the grounds of Our Lady of Lourdes. And then towards the end of the procession, to be standing there singing with all of the people. There was thousands of people there for the celebration. And as the shrine of Our Lady came towards me, there was this huge white glow coming from the casing that was around her. And I immediately knew, without a doubt, I felt it within my heart and my soul, that I'm actually seeing her glories radiating to me. And I was recording this on my iPhone. I looked over at my wife's phone. She was recording also, and she was not capturing the same images that I was with my phone, which I thought was even more amazing. And as she came closer to me, Our Lady, and I looked at this glow, I immediately broke into tears and crying just of happiness to be able to experience this. I was so choked up I couldn't sing anymore. And that lasted for a good 5 minutes or so as she came by me. And I noticed one of the priests that was walking by me, and he looked at me, I looked at him, and the impression I got from him was that, yes, you saw what you saw. Mary, who had been calling me all along, that I didn't realize that that calling was coming from her. And since then, I've just felt so much of a great devotion to her that I intend to make it as vocal as I can, especially with the career that I have, to be able to share my experience with her, how she's walked with me through my life to this point, and how my life has changed so drastically from what it was to a very nice and beautiful life that I'm experiencing now. Years ago, my life was in a terrible state. And now that I've found that connection with Mary over the years, opened up my eyes to so many blessings that have always been around me. I talk about it to everyone that I meet, and I'm so glad that my kids are aware of it as well, and that they are paying attention to see that my life has changed drastically. Quite a while ago, I wrote a song with a good friend of mine. Her name's Adrian Russ, and she wrote the lyrics to a song that's called I Paid the Price. And as I looked at these words, they always stuck close to me, and I didn't really know why. The lyrics of this song, I feel, are very reflective of my walk with Mother Mary, and I decided to dedicate this song to her because of the importance of the lyrics, where it talks about giving is getting, as one of the lines in the song, that we must give in order to get back. For example, one of the lines as it starts is that I lost a lot along the way. There's been dues that I had to pay. But when I found you, Mary, life changed for me. You are more than anything I dreamed I'd get. Losing you has been something I could not afford. Loving you has always been my best reward. I paid the price.
I lost a lot along the way. Never knew I had to pay. When I found you, life paid instead.
So, as I even say these words, as I sing them in the song, it warms my heart, it brings happy tears to my eyes, knowing that I now have a life that I can look forward to and be proud of, where years ago I was not really sure if I was going to have a beautiful life like I have now, and I owe it all to her.
I paid the price. It cost a lot.
Our Lady of Fatima will go down as the greatest of Marian apparitions in history. It all began on May 13th in the year 1917 when 3 shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, her cousins Francisco Marto and Jacinta Marto, witnessed a vision of the Virgin Mary standing in front of them in the fields of Cova de Iria. They received messages of peace and of prayer, and they even saw a vision of hell. Many thousands of people began to gather in that area, and they saw the children there seeing the Virgin Mary, the Blessed Mother of God. These messages were distributed to the faithful, made it all around the world, making Fatima the greatest of all Marian devotions. The greatest miracle that happened related to Fatima was the Great Sun Miracle, which occurred on October 13th. in which the thousands of people there who had been gathered to hear those messages of Our Lady and to witness a miracle were drenched in a rainstorm, and they looked up to the sky and they saw the sun growing in size and spinning and descending on them. Was it mass hallucination? I'm not quite sure. The people there who were drenched previously were instantaneously dried, and people witnessed this miracle from many miles away. Our Lady of Fatima goes down as one of the greatest apparitions in church history, and Pope John Paul II beatified two of those visionaries and released the third secret of Fatima that related to the assassination of a bishop in white. He, of course, relates that to his own assassination attempt on the feast of Our Lady of Fatima, taking the bullet from that assassination and placing it in the crown of Our Lady of Fatima. Our Lady of Fatima will go down as the greatest Marian apparition in the history of the Catholic Church.